We are live.
We are live.
We are live. Hello, Tinkers. Hello, Lucky 13. Curtis. We got Calvin in the chat and here.
I can be everywhere at once. It's an amazing skill I have. While choking myself out trying to put my maker coin on.
How you doing, Daniel?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing awesome.
Doing good. Just, making the most of life.
C-Dub for life.
Did you guys come up with a...
How you doing, Daniel?
I'm great.
Was that mine or was that yours?
Let me put my headphones on. Okay,
now he definitely looks like an MC. MC C-Dub.
Can't get any better than that.
You can't make this stuff up.
I will admit I may or may not do like 5 seconds of beatboxing in an upcoming video. That's all I'm saying.
I expect any time for Daniel to just reach up and hit the X button and say, I'm out.
You should do that like an intro.
Oh, man. We got Chris in the house. How you doing, Chris?
So we want to get started with introductions?
Yep, it's 11 o'clock, so let's go ahead and start it. My name is Jimmy Shaw of Jimmy Shaw's Tidbits. Alongside me, we have Calvin.
I'm Calvin from the YouTube channel Make It With Calvin. You guys probably know me as the dude who does probably the slightly dorky videos. And I'm also branching out into doing like design videos and things like that.
And then joining us tonight, we also have the one, the only, Daniel Norée. And please forgive me if I'm totally botching your name.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Hi, guys.
So how are you doing, my friend?
Sorry?
You posted a beautiful picture online.
Oh, yeah, the morning picture,
yeah. That one is just absolutely amazing.
When are you guys coming to visit?
I need a passport.
I was just talking to one of my coworkers a little bit ago. She was asking, why are you talking about getting a passport? I said, because I got a friend I'd like to visit. He's over in Sweden.
Same here.
Do you guys have a name for the show yet, or?
Sort of. Jimmy was thinking of just calling it Calvin and Jimmy, which is simple but works.
And add show to the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we can just do that. We'll just call it the Calvin and Jimmy Show.
Yeah, and then you can do the European tour or something.
Oh, heck yeah.
Dude, like, what's the name of the Hodge twins? Those guys are on a comedy tour now.
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I wouldn't, you never know, but I wouldn't put it past us that at some point it wouldn't be hilarious to at least do a tour and at least just to say that we did it, like have an event like in San Francisco or something at some random location and just be like, we went on tour.
Yeah, you need to have like t-shirts and stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yes, it would. Oh, so we were talking earlier in the week about what we were going to talk about tonight, and one of the things that came up, we were talking about possibly discussing clones and what is everybody's feeling about these different 3D printer clones that are on the market.
And by clones, I'm not necessarily talking like when they had the MakerBot replicator, which became the Flashforge, which became like the Quid-Eye Tech, which are all decent machines, clones of each other. I'm talking like the really bad clones where somebody takes like a bad clone of a machine and makes like an even worse clone on top of it. So there's like 2 sides to the spectrum, like the good clones and the bad clones, and kind of like what's our take on just clones in general, taking both those into consideration and maybe bringing our opinions on the good and the bad and all that stuff.
Don't you think at this time it's hard to even know who's cloning who?
That's true. It literally, it seems like Bob clones Bill's machine so Ted can make his own clone of Bob and Ted's machine. Yeah, it's like everything in the market anymore. It's not like 3 years ago where it was like clearly it was an Ultimaker, clearly it was a MakerBot, and clearly it was, say, well, we'll just come up with Zix or something like that. You know, it was like, it was clearly everybody was their own thing. Now all of a sudden it's just like everybody's dumped printer ideas into the melting pot and they spit out something and hope it works good and doesn't burn the shop down. You know, it's interesting.
Well, one name that comes to mind every time I think of a clone, there's one name that sticks out, and I'm sure you guys know this name, Prusa. His name has been used on every printer I have seen on eBay.
Well, the interesting thing about the Prusa, or just that style of printer, is there's so many. It's like there was the first generation of the machine, then there were like tons of subsets underneath it. I don't know if I do think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I do think his is actually his own flavor of the because there was like the Prusa Mendel or the Mendel Max or things like that. I think it's his flavor of the Prusa, of the original printer design, whoever came up with that, and then everybody's tacking the name onto it. I think partly marketing and partly just because that's the way it is. But please correct me if I'm wrong. Daniel might know more about this than I do.
Nope.
Okay.
I've got one guess. The one who invented the Prusa printer was Prusa.
Oh, really? Where's my tinfoil hat?
I'm guessing.
I mean, honestly, I really don't know. I mean, I'll put it this way, though. It's like there's the genuine Prusa, obviously, that you can get from Joseph. And then there's like everybody else who has their clones. So it's really hard to tell like what's what, if you will.
That's one reason why I'm getting to the point now where I'm kind of shying away from calling my the aluminum Prusa i3. I get to the point where I just call it the i3 because it's the design of it is an i3 design. But since he came out with his own line of printers, I hate referring it to a Prusa because he is Prusa.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm with you on that one. It's definitely confusing. And then the other problem is, I guess Joseph's actually mentioned that he's had problems with like people who buy a cheapy clone off eBay. It burns down. The insurance company sees the word Prusa, thinks it's a genuine Prusa, contacts him, and the dude's like, oh, heck no, I didn't fill that piece of crap.
Exactly.
call whatever country it came from. Good luck. Have a nice day. You know, so it's hard because then obviously it gives him a bad name. And then obviously we've had issues with printers and stories of printers and fake news about printers causing fires and stuff. And it's just like, ugh. Especially when it's the clones that have like absolutely zero safety stuff on them, or what safety stuff is there is so marginal.
But I mean, there are good clones as well as bad clones. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like you look at the MakerBot and then the Flashforge and then like the Quideye Tech. They're all technically clones of each other, but they're all decent machines in their own right, if you will.
Yeah, and there are lots of those companies. They started, with copying someone else's machine, and then they started gradually developing their own machine. So,
Geotech is one of them that comes to mind because I've watched them from the very beginning on what the different models they've came out with, and the ones that they're coming out with now, it's their own flavor. They're adding their own features to it that aren't on the ones that they originally were designing after. So they're kind of stepping up their game as they go. And A8, that's another model that comes to mind that it's kind of slowly becoming its own and coming into its own now.
Yeah, it's that slow process of design where, and I've seen this numerous times, where you start out with a basic design, maybe you're copying a lot of something else, then you use it some, you figure out what works, figure out some new features, some new technology comes out, and it's just this gradually evolving process. And for some machines, it's extremely drastic. And for some machines, it's pretty minor. But it's interesting watching the design process, especially with 3D printers, because they're constantly changing how they start out very basic. And now some of them are becoming extremely advanced, which is quite impressive.
Most definitely. I know one person on here that could probably tell us about the most advanced of all of them, and that's Daniel, because he gets to play with some of the best machines on the market.
Sure. Sure, but we don't see a lot of cheap clones here. Okay, we sell the Flashforge machines. They're really nice. I don't know if you checked out their software, which is basically based off the old MakerBot Makerware. But they've done some really good development on their own software as well, so it's starting to look pretty good, actually. And they've added the functionality for their SLA printer, or DLP, the Hunter, as well. Looks pretty neat. So, and they're constantly updating it with new functions as well. So
that is awesome. That's one thing. I have a friend that he got into doing those fidget spinners, and he started out. He had a Flashforge. What was that? Oh, what was one of the original ones?
Like a
Creator Pro, or
Creator Pro. He started out with that. That was the original printer that he had, and then when he decided he wanted to get another printer, he bought another one. At the same time, I'm like, why don't you, get some of the cheaper printers? And then he's like, because I know how it prints. Straight up, he's like, I know how it prints. And he was talking to me the other day. He says, hey, you want to buy a printer? I got like 4 of them now.
Can you ever have too many printers? I don't know.
You can't.
Well, my take on if you can have too many printers is if you can't keep them all functioning like in working condition, or if you're trying to keep them all printing in like succession or something like that, you do kind of hit an upper limit of how many one person can feasibly operate, especially on short runtime parts. I know this from doing machining. It's like there's an upper limit to how many machines one person can run, especially if it's like 5 minutes apart, and then you've tried to stagger the machines, and I think there is an upper limit to how many printers somebody can have and make it practical. But I'm talking in like a production setting, not hobby setting.
Did you ever get the ABP working on your Thingomatic?
I have not, but the machine never came with an APB. It just came with the heated bed. But I have actually thought about building my own APB for the thing, because I really would love to have that functionality at like a train show or something to show people what you can do. Just have the thing like printing in a loop, like it prints out like a little train keychain, or it's just doing like a rail car or something really basic. But it would be really cool to have the thing sit there and just like and spit out a print, start another one, and does another one. But I'd have to I actually have thought about if I was to make a belt for it, thinking about using build tack, but I need to ask the people over there if they know like what's the tightest radius a sheet can bend around without potentially cracking or becoming like permanently deformed or something like that, if that's even possible. Then the other option would probably be just getting like some PEI film and then taping it together. The trickiest part's obviously the belt, but it would be cool if it was doable.
That'd be something that'd be interesting to talk to, try to have a discussion with, my brain is fried. My goodness. We just started. But with Build Tack, it'd be interesting to talk to them to see if there'd be a possibility of getting something special made that would work with that.
That would be cool. I mean, it's definitely one of those things that I have to get the mechanics figured out first before I take that step of bringing other people along and being like, hey, are you guys willing to help with this project? But I'm definitely, I mean, this is just purely hypothetical speaking, but I can definitely see this being a collaboration between my scrap box, probably IGUS for some of their bushings just to put on the thing, because it'd be nice. My CNC mill, potentially Build Tack, or another company that could make a belt surface that's durable. Because the only fear I have with running something like Kapton is it's so easy to tear. But we'll figure it out.
You'll get it. I believe in you.
I can do it.
You can do it.
Oh
There's
gosh.
a few people using thin sheet metal for the ABP back in the day.
I've seen
Like
that.
foil, almost.
Yeah, I've seen that. The only problem is the seam location. But then part of me says if you were smart, you could just set the thing up so that way it runs for say like it runs far enough that the seam is not on the heated bed. So that way it's like the seam's off the heated bed, so it doesn't cause any leveling issues. But that's the biggest problem is the seam and the belt. But we'll figure it out if we get there.
Maybe a person could time it somehow so that it would kind of run past and then run past.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Set it up so that way it's like the belt moves in, say, like thirds. So let's just say a third of the belt is on the heat bed. So the edge, if it's a problem, is off the heat bed. It runs for a third. It's still off the heat bed. Runs again. It's off. And it's one of those things that you probably have to monitor to make sure it was working right. But yeah, that is something that is a thought.
There was some guys doing something similar for the Replicator 5th gen, I think. I actually think it was a Kickstarter where they had like a roll of plastic coming from the top, going down over the bed and further down.
That's interesting. I think the one thing that I'm really curious about with things like the black belt and the printer belt are lifespan of the belt material and ease of user friendliness should they need to change that, and also just how delicate is the print bed. You know, does it bend very easily? Does it easily get nicked? Things like that. That's something I really want to see in the long term with something like that, which is why I'm trying to steer clear of metal, just because I kind of feel that could be a problem, but we'll see.
Let's kind of take a look over here at chat, and I think we better kind of include everybody in this. Let's start from the very top. It said, let's do this from Tinkers. Lucky 13 says, yes. Tinkers again, hey there. We have Calvin saying, what's that? Tinkers again, how goes it? We have Lucky 13 said I would make it, but cannot sleep. Tinker said, I've said, what was that? Bleep sleep? Let's see here. Yay, Pimp Daddy Jimmy. Let's get down here to more stuff. Let's see. We got Tinkers again. We like dorky videos. Don't we all?
Everybody loves to watch videos of me just acting like a complete fool on camera. I think it's depressing.
Practical printing. Did someone give Calvin a shiner? How about Calvin? How come you got the sunglasses on?
I figured why not, and I've also got the light that's illuminating me, like staring me right in the eyeballs. So I figured so I wouldn't go blind. That's why I've got the Ray Charles look going on.
Daniel's like, then again, Australia just said, what in the world did you just do? Sorry, I forgot.
Travis from A Pyro just commented, is Jimmy going to read every comment?
No, I was just kind of teasing along. I do like this one, though. It says, what happened to Bacon Bits for the name of the show?
Well, I mean, Travis has his show is Flaming Bacon Live, so we don't want to encroach on his bacon rights. That would be
he's got the sacred right to bacon. That's his.
And I'm going to repeat what I said on Dustin's stream, that I really don't get all the hype about bacon.
Did you get to have any kind of hamburger with bacon out here when you came out, Daniel?
No.
we got to get you out here to California sometime.
Yeah,
definitely. We got to drag him to like the Habit.
And one thing I've been meaning to ask you, which I never get. This is the first time I've ever had a chance to actually talk to Daniel. And one thing I've always wondered, was that your first trip to America, or have you been to America a few times before?
I've been a few times before. I've been to Texas. I've been to California. I've been to Colorado. And when I was in California, we took the car up to the mountains, Utah. We went to Las Vegas and, the places around there.
Oh, man. So you went to the good places.
Yeah, but that's the last trip I took was like 2003.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's been a while for sure.
We need to drag him. We need to find a way to drag him out here for Bay Area Maker Faire, kind of like with Angus, just like tweet the crap out of everybody and be like, okay, everybody, we got to bring Daniel Norée out. Okay, job done. Bye. Okay, thanks. Bye.
We're talking about when we're going to go to the Midwest Wrap Up Festival, and maybe we'll stay a couple of days after or before, and we're going to go. If we do that, we'll probably go to California and visit all the people and companies there.
Oh, that'd
and
be
hang
cool.
out.
If you ever come out this way, give us a call. Let us know so we can meet up with you.
Heck yeah. Why do I have visions of me and Jimmy just like piling into one of the other person's cars and just like driving straight down to wherever it's at, getting out of the car and being like, hi, and just like passing out from exhaustion.
Everybody can fit in your car. What car do you have?
Me? I've got...
the one you drove Angus in.
That one's a 96 Mazda Protege that was my grandmother's former car, and then she gifted it to me because you can do that in America, and it's great. And then the other car that I take down to visit my parents and for long drives is my 96 Civic DX, which was my very first car. So we could
probably fit like 6 or 7 people in there, right? One in the trunk and.
It's like that video of like shoving like it was like 12 or 14 Russian guys that like climbed inside this one car and they keep coming out and it's like, what the heck? Yeah, you could definitely fit 2 people in the trunk. You could fit 3 people in the back seat. And you could fit 2 people up front. So do the math. That's a lot of people.
Whenever I bought my 2008 Nissan Sentra, one of the selling points, the guy, after I bought it, he's come out there and showed me all the different things about it. And he's like, yeah, look at this trunk. Look at how many bodies you can fit in this trunk. You can fit a good 3 bodies in here. And take a look at this glove box. He opens it up and says, could you imagine how many kilos can fit in there? I'm like, okay, you weren't always a car salesman, were you?
Reminds me of when we were having lunch and you're like, oh, somebody got shot. Nope, 2 people got shot.
I took Calvin down to it was what was that? La Costa to our taqueria that's here in town. We got taquerias everywhere, but there's this one I really like and got a wet burrito, and those things are awesome there.
Oh, those things are huge. They're like the size of like a brick, at least, like a cinder block. There we go.
Huge.
No joke.
The whole time we're sitting there, it's like, here's these sirens. I'm like, somebody else got shot.
Cop cars screaming down the street, code 4, lights, sirens. Who cares about stop signs, traffic lights, and grandma on the crosswalk? Just barreling down the street. We're like, oh, wow.
We're like, it's just another day here in Salinas. Don't worry about it.
It's kind of like, sadly, it's like once or twice a week, there's a retirement home like right up the street from where I live. So it's like about once or twice a week at like random hours of the day, you'll see like one lone fire truck going up there. And about 2 minutes later, you'll see like a lone ambulance going up there. And you're like, oh, yep, probably somebody passed on. Okay. So yeah, I'm used to it. Only in my case, it's fire engines and ambulances and depressing stuff like that.
So talking about the Maker Faire, did you guys go last year as well, or?
Let's see. I went. If you mean by last year, you mean not the Maker Faire that me and Jimmy were at?
Maker Faire Bay Area last year, like 2016.
Yeah, I was there that year. That was my second year going. Jimmy was not there.
No, my mom was on a cruise, and the day that I was going to go, which was on that Saturday, I thought that her boat was going to be coming in later in the day. Well, it ended up coming in early in the morning. So I got the phone call saying, "Oh, we're already docked." So she was the cruise was out of San Francisco. So I ended up having to drive up to San Francisco to pick her up. And by the time, because she kind of got sicker while she was on the cruise. So by the time we got back home and got everything all figured out and all that, it was so late in the day. It's like, I'm not going to make it. So I never did make it that year.
I remember, yeah, it was the second year at Maker Faire was the first time that I met Joel, which was funny because I get super anxious at the Maker Faire, just all the people and stuff around there. And I'm like walking around with my camera rig, like all timid, like Gen 1 of the thing that I cranked out like the night before, just like walking around all timid. And Joel's all like, "Come on!" And I'm like, "Oh geez, who the heck is this guy?" Like pulls me into the Matter Hackers booth, and I'm like, "Okay, yep, Maker Faire's off to a great start." But it was definitely a cool year because that time I knew I didn't meet as many people as I did this year, but I met more people than I did last time, so that was cool.
Hey, did the stream stop? Because I'm seeing comments. It looks like the stream stopped. I'm showing we're still live here.
My phone's frozen on the stream, so I don't know what's up. There's always some kind of technical glitch.
Let's see here.
Now it's still showing it's live on my phone.
Travis says it's back.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing everything going normal on this end.
Yeah, it's going fine on my phone, so we're good.
Okay.
Daniel's giving free props to his company right now.
Let's take a look over here. Yeah, there's lots of, they're dead. Roll the credits. They're back. No, they're gone. Who's White Tigress 18, Calvin?
Wait. Let me see. Scrolling through. That would be.
I thought I'd let you read it.
Can't watch the stream. Sad day, but I do have a question. What amendment is Calvin going to plead on his boogie boarding skills? Oh, you know who you are. I'm in the ocean going, I can't do this. Oh, shoot, there's rocks 5 feet to the right of me. Starts paddling away like a madman. That part did not make it into the upcoming video. No, White Tigress 18 would be Danielle.
Okay. She is awesome, man.
She's honestly, like I was telling her, and I haven't said this on stream, but for the record, we are not dating. We are strictly friends, so that clears that up. Just saying that because I get a lot of people thinking otherwise. But she is seriously like one of the easiest people to film with. I don't care if it's water filming, set filming. It's like we just set the camera down and awesomeness spits out, or I give her my camera rig and she goes running off into the ocean and goes, wee, and shoots like all kinds of great footage. And I look at it going, I can't do that. I can't.
Well, at least you didn't lose your camera.
Yeah. Which is funny because she did all kinds of like flips and crap underwater. And I go out there and I'm like, oh, look, I'm under a wave. Oh, crap, I lost my camera. Just my luck.
Hey, I'm seeing where it says good, a great logo, nice cup, Daniel. What cup do you have, Daniel?
Oh, it's probably this one.
Nice.
Daniel's totally balling over there with his Creative Tools cup.
So tell us about the story behind the Benchy. How in the world did you develop this?
Well, the Benchy started actually a long time before I worked at Creative Tools. Like so many others, I decided to design my own printers. So I did 2 or 3 designs, and I worked at a place where I could, laser cut and bend sheet metal and stuff like that. So I did 2 machines, and Creative Tools thought that was really cool, and so they helped doing the electronics and the software side of things. And so we did like a lot of prints, And you know, we, like everyone else, we printed the tree frog and the other prints as well. So we thought, you know, like we should really have a test model that would feature a little of everything, you know, some tiny overhangs, some different kinds of shapes, you know, to just get a glimpse of whatever problems you might have with the printer and how to solve them. And then later I started at Creative Tools, started working here, and it was decided that we should do some kind of test model. So it landed on my desk to make one. And yeah, so
It's like, done.
no, but we thought about it, and it, you know, should be a fairly simple model. It should take like an hour to print, because you don't want like a test model to take 3 or 4 hours to print. And it should be like a recognizable object, so not just a cube, but something at least, you know, half fun anyway. I mean, like a Benchy is, everyone's really bored with a Benchy right now, but in the beginning you could, you know, bring him to fairs and give him away to kids or whatever, and everyone thought that was a fun thing.
I mean, what I love about the Benchy is the fact that it's so simple, but I feel like the problem with a lot of these torture tests is they're so unrealistic with the things that people are trying to perfect on their printers. The thing I like about the Benchy is it's a very easy way to see on more of a organic model, something that's got more realistic challenges and stuff, how the model looks overall, because it's very easy to spot things like ringing or Z-hop or things like that. But it also, it shows you it in more of a realistic model sense. Like, yeah, this is a realistic model that I'm probably going to be printing. It's got some curves and slight overhangs and stuff. It's nothing so extreme that it's practically impossible to print, but it's still got enough challenges in there that it shows if there are problems, which is what I love about it, is it's so simple, but yet it's still challenging.
Yeah, and I think it's not really correct to call it a torture test, because it's not, you know, torturing anything, but it's more of a calibration test, perhaps.
It's, if anything, it's just a good quick test print to run to double check that things are looking good. And yeah, it's just something that's easy to make. It's also like a good beginner's first print, because it's not super difficult, but it's something that really is cooler than I printed a 20-centimeter cube and everybody's like, woohoo, I've done that. You know, at least it's something cool that you can show people, is like, yeah, I did this as a first print or second print. People are like, wow, that's really cool. You know.
A Pyro Design. Travis is asking, if you had to estimate how many Benchies there are in the world, how many would you think there are?
I have no idea, but it would be probably a lot.
Well, I know you probably got access to the stats on the page on Thingiverse. Have you ever checked out to see how many in the lifetime, how many have been downloaded?
It's been a while, actually. Let's see, 3D Benchy.
I'm looking it up too for my own amusement.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say probably a good 500,000 times or more.
There are, on Thingiverse, there's like almost 2,000 makes, 16,000 collections, and 12,500 likes.
How many downloads does it say?
Downloads, 273,000.
Oh, wow. I was shooting a little bit high.
557,000 views.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, you wonder how many people, you know, just because you downloaded something one time doesn't mean that you're stuck printing it one time. Just because somebody downloaded it once doesn't mean that maybe somebody didn't pass the file on to another person in an email, or they didn't print multiples. But yeah, it's a lot are out there.
Tinkers, Keith is asking, why a boat?
I don't know. It's I was looking at making something that had both you know, like organic shapes as well as geometrical shapes. that what it's called? And you got the hull with the round shapes, and you got the thing on the top. What's it called? Yeah, where you're steering the thing.
The bridge, I think it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then you can add some dimensions to it, to calculate for, over extrusion, under extrusion, things like that as well. But also, with the overhangs, like we did the tree frog, and there's always the sagging of the belly if you don't have enough cooling for printing PLA and things like that.
So I guess my question is, being that obviously I'm a dude that's really into model trains, and I've been shooting a lot of stuff regarding that lately, and also incorporating 3D printing into it in the near future and stuff. My question is, what was the backstory on the open railway, being that I think I kind of stumbled upon your work with the SW1500 switching locomotive that you came up with. Like, what's the backstory on that one? Because that one I'm like really interested in personally.
Well, just a second. I'm going to get the model there.
Oh, boy.
Real quick while he's doing that, Thomas L. Shaw, 240. Tommy, thank you very much. I cannot thank you very much for the $2 donation. That's my brother, I think.
Hey, are you going to split the $2 three ways? I'm just teasing.
I think we will.
This is printed on a Form 2 or Form 1 Plus, actually.
Oh,
it's got a hole in the roof.
What? Oh, that's no good. So that.
All right, but yeah. Anyway, so the SW1500, I was with before I worked at Creative Tools. I helped them out at a hobby trade fair. Yeah, and I showed off all the OpenRC stuff and things like that, the quadcopters and the cars. And there was a lot of people asking about model trains. So we saw that there was a great interest in model trains. And also my dad, we have the Garden Railway at my dad's house. So obviously, there's an interest on our behalf as well. So then I decided to start the Open Railway project as a place like to collect open source model train 3D printing things. And to kick things off, I wanted to have a model that would be recognized and maybe downloaded and printed by the community. So I went to a friend's work. He works at a hobby shop, and he showed me, all these books. I literally just went there and said that I'm going to model a train, a locomotive. What should I do? It needs to be like American and recognizable. So it just immediately took the book and showed me the EMD SW1500, and I read about it, and then I started to collect pictures. I tried to find some good drawings, but they were hard to come by. But I did find something, that had some kind of dimensions on it, and I just worked with the pictures and started to scaling things down. And 1,000 sketches later, there was a train.
The thing that amazes me the most about it is the level of detail that was built into the model. It's like, I'll be honest, when I designed most of my train stuff, I tend to keep it somewhat basic, partly because it's freelanced and partly just because I'm trying to keep it basic, because a lot of the detail stuff I add on separately, like I'll glue on louvers or doors or things like that. But I mean, the level of detail on that locomotive that you came up with is like on par with, or probably higher than, the stuff that you can buy commercially, just based off what I've seen. And it's partly just because of the manufacturing process, being it's 3D printed, but it's just the detail on that thing is incredible. I'd love to build one. I just sadly don't have the space to put it yet, but it's definitely on my list of things I would love to have, even though it's not the scale that I model, just to have it sitting on a shelf somewhere, because it looks so darn cool.
Yeah, that was also a thing with the train, that before I had done the OpenRC stuff, and I focused a lot on durability over the last 2 years or something. So I wanted to make something that would highlight the details, as you said, that can be, printed with at least a well-calibrated 3D printer. So that's why also I choose the locomotive as well, and try to add those kind of details.
No, it's incredible. I mean, the funny thing is it's a little bit finicky to make it run, but I'll tweet out a photo later. But I have this little tiny custom, fully 3D printed locomotive. The frame is printed and the body is printed. And at train shows, it tends to be people's most favorite locomotive just because it's so tiny. It's always like just scooting around, pulling like a rail car or two, and I can get it to work. But everybody's like always blown away when I go, oh yeah, that whole thing is 3D printed. The base is 3D printed. The body's 3D printed. Everybody's like, I never thought of using 3D printing like that. And then it kind of like rolls into other conversations like, oh, well, I have a 3D printer. I know somebody who has one. What can I use it for? I'm like, what do you want to make? It can probably make it. You know, it's kind of a cool segue because it shows people 3D printing doing more useful things for a hobby. It's like right now I'm working with a friend on, he's making a custom brass locomotive, but things like the coupler mounts and stuff need to be 3D printed. So I did the 3D design on that, sent that out. But it's interesting combining 3D printing into model making and just using it as a tool to also create things that are so unique or detailed that other companies just won't touch or can't do for manufacturing or cost or whatnot reasons.
Did you see the one that Prusa did?
Did he have
the SW1500? They printed the model and then somebody painted it.
And you
weathered it.
I think I might have seen photos of that because, yeah, I think I did. It looked nuts.
It's yellow and green. It looks amazing. And also, I don't know if you're into Google Plus, but there's the OpenRC, Open Railway Community, and there's a couple of guys that have scaled it up to like huge, remote controlled, running it on their huge railways. It's really cool. So that's definitely something I would like, you know, like one of these huge ones on my desk at home.
You need to make one big enough that you can like ride in a little rail car behind the thing and like pulls you around. That would be fun.
That would be awesome.
Hey, Jamie, do you have some access to some land? I can bring some steel down. We can make something up.
I could probably come up with something. You don't mind high desert? I know where there's some land down in Lancaster.
Yeah, that works. I don't care.
Are you guys coming to the Midwest Rap Rap Festival or?
I'd love to, but I got grandma to take care of, and I got school to work on, and I'm the answer is probably not.
I really want to as well, but I don't know financially if I'm going to be able to make it. I'm not saying no because I'm hoping it does happen.
Do you know what would it cost, you know, to fly over there? Is it really expensive or?
Yeah, what's like the nearest airport that everybody flies in and out of?
O'Hare, Chicago.
Okay, let me just look it up. Do you know what month it is? I'm playing travel agent.
I want to say it's in May, isn't it?
No, I think it's like February. Or... I don't think they've set a date yet.
It seems to me I checked it out back at the time, and I want to say it was for a one-way ticket. It was like $600 from here.
Which airport were you flying out of?
I believe it was out of San Jose.
Okay. So I'm looking at it. Which month was it? March?
February or March, yeah.
Okay, I'll just do February for ease. I'll just fly midweek. Because I'm flying I'm checking Southwest out of curiosity because they're usually cheaper, but it's like if you're flying Oakland to, they only fly to Chicago Midway. It's like $237 each way with their cheapest rate. You could probably find it cheaper with another airline, but it's not. It's not
with
super
Southwest. That's actually not bad because you get what, 2 check-in bags for free?
Yeah. Yeah. By the time you're done with another airline, you'd probably be spending about that much. Yeah,
I just bought tickets for my aunt to go to Tennessee, and it was like $250 $42 to fly from San Jose to Nashville. And that was with 2 check-in bags at 50 pounds each.
Yikes.
And I think the next one was going to be, if we went through one of the other outfits, it was like 300 and something, and she had to pay for her own bags.
Yeah, I guess I'm used to $49 and $59 flights down to Burbank and back from San Francisco.
Yeah, that's just a commuter one.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you wanted to take Amtrak out there just by comparison, which would take you, I don't want to know how long, and that's not even getting a sleeper car, you're still looking at like $225 each way. So that's not even that much of a discount. Yeah, you're better off flying it if you were to do it.
But if the tickets are only 200 and something, that's more in the price range.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing is if you flew out there, you could probably hook up with somebody for a hotel room and really be cheap that way and carpool out if you needed to save on funds.
Just rent a car and sleep in it.
You'd be like my dad. Oh, I'm going to some like car show thing. I'm going to sleep in my car in the parking lot. Okay, yeah, you do you, Dad.
Just as long as we don't do it in Chicago.
I get the idea where this event is located, that I think this year or next Murph, there's probably going to be people like camping out in the parking lot at CME or something.
They probably got the room for it.
Probably, or there's probably some empty field nearby. That would actually be hilarious.
Daniel had the best idea. Let's get a bus and just all ride back there.
And I'll be the cranky bus driver. I'll just channel my sister while driving. It'll be great.
He'll pull up to every one of us. He'll open up the door and say, "Get in, loser. We're going to Murph."
Have you been watching one too many videos of me getting in the car with Danielle?
How can I not?
Ever since her friend yelled that line at me one day when picking me up at the train station to go get dinner when I flew down one time, it's been a running gag ever since. Every time it's on camera when we're getting in the car, "Get in the car, loser. We're going to fill in the blank." Get in the car, loser. We're going to San
Francisco. On the chat here, it says Daniel loves trains by Roberto. 3D printed Aspie. He's in here. Good morning, Ryan. How you doing? Let's see. So it was my brother. Thank you, Tom. And let's see here. Need to get these photos scanned of my grandfather's engines. Oh, we got to see those. That'd be interesting to see.
I've seen a couple of photos of them. They are just absolutely beautiful.
Tinkers, Keith. Daniel, you mentioned to Chuck that you weren't good with electronics, but you've done all the quadcopter stuff. So where do you get your electronics from, and how do you select them?
All right. So I had a discussion, but we chatted on Twitter with Chuck, and I said I would love to come see you and learn a lot about electronics from you, because he's like the electronics guy and I'm not. And well, with the car, for example, I didn't know. I mean, the cars and the RC stuff these days are so, advanced to what it used to be when I was younger in the 80s. And so what I did was I went to, the forums, one of the biggest forums in Sweden for RC cars, and I asked, like, what should I buy? Just tell me what to buy. I'll buy it and I'll build a car around it. So they told me what to buy and basically told me how it worked and what I should look for and not look for and stuff like that. And so I built a car around that and learned that way. And, they obviously were really nice, answering all my stupid questions all the time, things like that about gearing and gear ratio and stuff like that as well. And with the quadcopter, those are even more, advanced than what I have in the RC car. So I have a friend who is running a drone company. They make commercial drones for, I'm probably not even going to go into that, but he helped me. He sponsored me with all the electronics for the quadcopter, and he helped me put it all together and showed me the software side of things and stuff like that. So that's where it all started, and where I got the electronics, and you know how I even knew what kind of stuff to use as well. So, and I still, you know, send him questions from time to time, and he's a really nice guy and answers everything I have to ask. So yeah, that's it for the electronics. But it's great to learn new things all the time, even though sometimes it feels like it's might be, you know, too much. But especially the quadcopter things is really fun.
Do you ever order any of your parts through AliExpress or any of the online places like that, or do you mainly pick up your parts local?
Mostly I use like Banggood, Hobby King as well.
Cool.
I never used AliExpress though.
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people using it. I've never have ordered from him before, so I was just kind of curious myself on where you picked up your electronics that way.
In my case, when I was younger, I used to build a lot of model airplanes from dollar store sheet foam. So I put in like a bazillion orders through Hobby King, but the only problem with them is their shipping rates absolutely are not the greatest. And now with the explosion of eBay and Amazon, it's kind of like, well, I can spend less on shipping and get the same item in the same amount of time. So I tend to use just eBay and Amazon now. But yeah, Hobby King is a pretty good resource if you know how to use it.
So Daniel, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, you go.
No, you go.
I don't even remember what I was supposed to say.
Oh, shoot.
I was going to ask you, how long have you been with Creative Tools now?
For 2 or 3 years, something.
Awesome.
You know, time flies when you're having fun.
It would be so nice to get a job where you go in and do something that you truly enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have this awesome colleague who just dropped in, Anton.
Ah, is he there? Bring him on in.
What's up, internet?
He's like, I'm out. Oh, it's that guy. Come back, say hi to C-Dub.
What you mean, Jimmy? You don't absolutely enjoy sweating to death in long sleeve clothing, blasting metal with high pressure grits of sand in the sweltering Salinas sun? You mean you don't enjoy that for a living?
I'm getting too old for it.
Crap.
Yeah, I think Letter wants you to finish the Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Have you guys seen the Ferrari Anton is working on?
No.
No, I haven't.
These are some of the mock-up part pieces.
Oh, man. Oh, that's cool.
That's like a Enzo.
Yeah, for our Enzo.
That is awesome.
But it's broken right now, but isn't that part of testing, Daniel?
Yep.
Okay.
That's how we do it.
That's salvageable.
If you're not crashing it, burning it up, or breaking it in one way or another, you're not testing. I mean, they don't call it destructive testing for nothing.
I love watching Anton on his videos. I love especially when he's doing the designing and all that. I just love watching it.
Nice.
So are there any more projects that you can talk about that are like in the open RC pipeline or things like that? Because after you put together that sweet demo reel, you got to one up yourself again, man.
Everything I do is top secret.
Ah, darn it.
It's top secret until it's not.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth on if I know any information or not.
Yeah. Until somebody leaked it.
I'm guardable.
Open rally car, someone says.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's the touring car. That's a rally car.
With the touring car?
Yeah, did you see the touring car? It's in the video.
Yeah, I saw the touring car. That one is pretty sweet, although it would be cool to make one that's dedicated as just a rally car with like maybe more suspension travel, a little more ground clearance. But I mean, I'm not saying, well, I mean, you've driven the F1 in the dirt, but obviously rally cars are purpose built for rallying and touring cars purpose built for touring. But that would actually be, that'd be a cool spin-off of that design, would be to make one that you can do an upgrade where you got more suspension travel and things like that, because rally cars are pretty sweet.
You can do that.
Oh, me? Oh, come on. I'm going to be designing trains and drones and failing at
It
boogie
could
boarding.
be like a rally train.
I don't even know if such a thing exists.
Ooh, open RC watercraft.
That'd be cool.
Who knows?
Look at his face. Look at it.
Yep. He's not saying.
He just turned red. He almost looks like me.
Okay, one thing I will say that two things that I think would be really cool to do, and these are actually based off science fair things that I did, is one, it'd be really cool to make like an open RC hovercraft, although the skirt would be a little bit tricky, the part that traps the air in. But I think the cooler one would be an open RC ROV, a remotely operated vehicle that you can like drive around underwater. Both of which I've done. I did a 4x8 hovercraft for science fair project once that was battery operated and self-contained. And then I also made a battery-powered, tethered underwater ROV that kind of just went up and down and swam in a pool. But those would be the two things that if I were to design an open RC thing, those are the two things that would be on my top list of things to do, just because they are so unique and they would be so cool if they worked.
Did you see the open ROV?
There
actually is one.
I've heard about it. I've seen versions of it. I'm trying to make mine based a little bit off like the one that I did as a kid, which used like cordless drill motors, like the actual motor without a gearbox, hooked up inside of a watertight pod to a prop. So I'm thinking like really, really cheap, but I'll definitely have to check that one out. Let me actually do that now.
It looks like we lost Travis. Have a good night. Probably I didn't pay attention to this chat that much, but have a great night, Travis. Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, I've seen the open ROVs at the
I think it was at Maker Faire.
Yeah, at the Maker Faire, and they're really cool. The only problem is they're really expensive to build, at least based off what I've seen with like the ones that you can purchase and stuff. So it's, I mean, they're really cool, so don't get me wrong, but at the same time it's a little bit like, oh man, that's really expensive. I mean, the aesthetics and stuff are absolutely beautiful, so don't get me wrong there, but I'm talking like trying to build things. I mean, it's like the ROV that I built, I'll have to try and see if I can't get my dad to help me pull it out for a video. It's literally made from PVC pipe, and like it used like a 25 or 50 foot printer parallel port cable to operate the thing. So it's like I'm used to doing things on like a super cheap budget, not very pretty, but it works. So that's kind of the mentality that I bring to something. But that open RC thing is pretty sweet, although I'm trying to think like really basic, but that's just where I come from, if you will.
Looks like we're losing Chris. Chris, have a great night, and thank you very much for joining.
Peace out, Chris. So does anybody have any like awesome projects they're working on that they can actually talk about?
Did you see the Open RC Benchy, by the way?
Oh, geez.
Not Open RC, but RC Benchy.
I got to check this out.
Somebody made that. You have to, I think it's on YouTube.
Did you let the cat out of the bag with the Open RC Benchy?
I don't think there's going to be one of those because it's not very seaworthy. But somebody actually did a remote control version.
I'm looking at it right now on Thingiverse. It's definitely a highly modified version of the original Benchy to make it seaworthy. But that is pretty cool, actually.
So Daniel, tell us, where do you get your rugged good looks at? That beard, you just got the rugged good looks. They come from your mother's side, your father's side.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but thanks anyway.
And here I had visions of Jimmy like this the whole time during the chat. Oh man, I can't.
Take me now.
I'm coming, death. I can't do this.
I can die in peace now.
I feel it coming. It's the big one. You're doing a whole like Fred Sanford, I'm having a heart attack skit there.
Daniel's like, stop it, you two. Stop it.
I'm not coming to California. No.
Oh man.
So
I get a kick out of you because one of the very first video of yours I ever watched was when you did the video with the weed whacker, where you took the nylon filament, loaded it up, and was out there whacking your weeds. Which I've always wondered, what is actually cheaper, using the filament or buying the weed whacker line?
Well, if you get the filament for free, that's obviously a lot cheaper.
Good point.
But I mean, why would you do that? It was only because at the time people were like, oh, did you try the weed whacker line in the 3D printer? Blah, blah, blah. No. Have anyone done the opposite? No. So I just thought I'd try it. It worked great.
It did, didn't it?
my take on using weed whacker line in a 3D printer is weed whacker line is designed to be used in a weed whacker outside. 3D printer filament is designed to be used in a 3D printer. Why the heck in 2017 are we still putting stinking weed whacker line in a 3D printer when there are purpose-built nylons designed specifically for 3D printing? It's like, to me, it's just kind of stupid. It's like, why? And the other thing is you don't know what the heck's being melted down in that 3D printer line stuff that might be toxic or bad to breathe in. It's just, to me, it's not like we're in the first gen of the rip wrap thing where it's like, we only have 3D printer, we only have, nylon string trimmer line to use, and that's all we have, so we're going to use it. It's like, to me, it's kind of stupid at this point when people try and use it, but I do find that funny, though, that you put nylon filament into a weed whacker and it worked. But it makes sense.
I would lie if I said I walked past the weed whackers up at Sears and look at that line. I think it's the 0.95, I believe is the size. I'm looking at it and I'm like, someday.
We all do. We all do that.
I'm more like the guy that walks into the metal store and goes, oh, look at all the stuff I can build. Oh, yes. Oh, cool. That would make a really cool this, and that would make a really cool that. Or I walk into the hardware store and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's associated with some science fair products in one way. And oh, yeah, I need some of this and that. And I'm different that way, though. Oh, man.
Well, guys, it's after midnight here. You guys want to talk about anything else?
I guess the real question is, anybody have any awesome videos planned, or is it kind of like everything's hush hush till it happens?
Do you guys consider yourself like YouTubers, or like I'm just a happy guy, like to make videos and post them on YouTube, or I'm a YouTuber, I'm gonna be the next PewDiePie? Or
you go first, Jimmy.
No, I just mainly make videos because it's like a hobby for me. I mean, I've been under quite a bit of stress for the last few years, and so it's just a good kind of a release. I never planned on being in front of the camera. I planned on just making little videos here and there and just post them. And like I originally said, I originally started the YouTube channel so I could post videos of going to concerts, just mainly so my friends and family on Facebook could watch them. And then it just kind of escalated.
In my case, I mean, I consider a YouTuber somebody who does it like full time, like that's their job, that sort of thing. I consider somebody who does it as on the side and just does it for fun as a hobby YouTuber. So I'd classify myself as a hobby YouTuber, but I'm a little bit like Jimmy. When I started doing YouTube videos years ago, it was just, oh, look, I'm jumping my RC cars in my parents' backyard. Whoop-de-doo. I'm crashing my model airplane. Whoop-de-doo. Nothing that exciting. And then as time went on, I was kind of like, you know, some people had suggested like, man, you know so much about stuff. You should like do videos. When I started making it with Calvin, it literally was more like other people were suggesting it, and then I did it, and then it was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll do it. And then it kind of rolled from there. But I definitely consider it a hobby as well, and I enjoy doing it, but at the same time, it's also just like what I do is like a mental like break thing. It's an excuse. The other thing is it's an excuse for me to do things that I normally would not do. But when I'm doing something on camera, I can kind of force myself to do it. So it's like, okay, I can see it through, I can watch it again, and that sort of thing. So that's half of the reason why I do it, but it's definitely a hobby, you could say, and definitely a stress release most of the time.
Calvin, do you always use the GoPro when you're filming, or do you have another camera as well?
Right now, all I use is GoPros. And I mean, part of me wishes I had like a nicer camera for filming with, like a DSLR, so I could do close-ups and stuff. But I also just like the simplicity of the GoPro. And quite honestly, it's just easy to use. I mean, it's turn it on, turn the screen on, plug my mic in, shoot my video, and I'm done. So that's all I use at the moment is just GoPros.
I personally use the Samsung S5. I have a Samsung S3 cell phone I use, Samsung S5, and then my Samsung S7. I film all my videos except for the live streams. I do everything with my cell phones. I mean, eventually, if I get enough money, I might get an actual camera, but right now they seem to be doing the trick.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I've seen people making videos with like DSLRs and stuff, and their quality isn't half of what you're knocking out with cell phones, or half of what I'm doing with GoPros, or even like the clone cameras, like the $60 one that I lost in the ocean, you know. So it's kind of like, I look at it more like it's not so much the equipment as it is the person behind it that makes the video what it is. And there's obviously limitations, but it is what it is.
Now, how about you, Daniel? Are you a YouTuber?
Nah, I wouldn't consider myself a YouTuber.
Do you consider yourself like a thingiverser?
Thingiverser. That's the first.
Well, you know, you're somebody that puts things up on Thingiverse, and you know.
I'm not the kind of guy that feels comfortable in, you know, speaking for a lot of people and stuff like that. But YouTube is a really important platform to, you know, get your projects out there and show other people. So I do think it's important, you know, what I'm doing. So, and I mean, you learn as you go as well. So yeah,
I watch YouTube every single day for almost everything I do. It's really weird. Just like today, I had to do did a brake job up in San Jose, and for one of the family members' cars. And it's like, okay, what year and model of car is it? And they told me. Oh, okay. So I looked it up on YouTube. Started, okay, now I know how to do the brakes. And that's just kind of with the 3D printing. It's like, okay, so I'm just going to kind of document especially when I have a problem, and how I go about fixing it. And that case, you know, if somebody else should have that problem, maybe it'll help them out. And that's kind of where that all went.
Well, you remember when we were at Maker Faire and Rich ran into us, and he's all like, oh my gosh, because of your like G-Tech video about fixing some problem, I was able to get like my printer running or something. And you're just standing there with this face like, my video helped somebody?
I was starstruck by meeting him and him recognizing me than I think he was of meeting me.
I so wish I had your reaction like on camera, because it was epic. You were just, it's like the whole time we're walking around, everybody's coming up like, what's up, Jimmy? And you're like, oh my gosh, it's Gaia. It's Garrett from Chaos Cortec. Oh my gosh, it's Travis from A-Pyro Design. Oh my gosh, it's Heather from A-Pyro. Oh my God, that was great. Just watching you. I wish I had that on camera. That would have made a great.
Oh my God, is that Joel? Oh my God.
Is Joel touching my hair? Oh my gosh.
So next year you'll have the GoPro, you know, mount on the head and filming you all the time.
Oh yeah. I actually thought about, I am actually thinking about doing that next year at Maker Faire, is having a GoPro or a time-lapse camera strapped to my chest that runs continuously from like from like short distance after I leave the house to get to Maker Faire, to do all the stuff at Maker Faire, to then go back home to kind of show just like how much stuff goes on during a day over there. That would actually be really interesting, like a time lapse of it.
3D Printed Aspie says there seems to be a large number of awesome designers that are very socially awkward or awkward in front of the camera. And you'd be surprised how many people I watch on YouTube that are the same way, and that it's slowly, I think YouTube kind of brings it out of them. You know, kind of brings them out of that little niche that they're in, I think.
I think it's true. And it's, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't believe it, but when I was younger, I used to be like super, super shy. And thanks to friends like pushing me to do things. And then once I started doing the videos and stuff, I definitely noticed you kind of, as you go along, you get a bit more comfortable in front of the camera. It almost becomes your friend in a sense. You can be a bit more candid with it. But yeah, it's true. I think a lot of designer types tend to be somewhat reclusive. So actually giving them an outlet through something like YouTube is actually a good thing, because it gives them the ability to be themselves, feel more comfortable, that sort of thing, if you will. But I'm no therapist.
How about you, Daniel? Were you ever awkward in front of the camera?
I'm just generally awkward.
You are genuinely awesome, though. My goodness, if I looked like you, I'd be in front of the camera all the time.
I think also, to my credit, being in front of the camera a lot as a kid in my dad's television classes when I was a lot younger definitely also helped, because I was more used to doing that sort of thing. But I definitely know how it can be for people getting in front of the camera. They just like freeze up and act like, oh my gosh, is it going to see into my soul? It's like, no, it can't see into your soul. It only knows what you tell it. So just act normal.
Hey, we got Anton in the chat, and we got 3D Maker Noob. How you doing, Joe?
What's up, Joe? Congrats on the 10K, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's impressive. All of a sudden, like, everybody's hitting 10K.
I know. I've watched so many people pass me by so fast. That was crazy.
I'm still languishing around like 676 or something like that. And I'm not complaining by any means. It's not that big of a deal. It's just, it's kind of funny how it's like started out really slow, and then it kind of shot up, and then it's kind of like gone slow, and it's hopefully going to go up. But it's, for me, it's not so much about the subscribers, although I will admit when I get close to 1K, I'm going to start working on talking to some people about maybe doing like a 1K giveaway or something, just as a little thank you.
It's funny, you know, with the social awkwardness, because as you said, when I was, you know, in school, the worst time was when you had to, you know, stand in front of the class and do a presentation or things like that. I just hated that. I wanted to be in the back of the room, hiding out, you know. If somebody would have told me like, in a few years you're going to go to the US and you're going to hold a presentation in English in front of a large crowd, I would like, no.
That's one thing I've got to ask you. I've always wondered this. Coming from Sweden, do you think everything in Swedish and then speak in English, or are you actually thinking in English? I've always wondered that, because I believe it was what is her name that's from there? The queen of the robots.
Simone.
Oh yeah.
Simone. Yes, I remember her saying something about that.
I haven't thought about it actually, but maybe I think in English. I don't know. I try to, you know, use English as much as possible. So I've got, you know, the operating system on my PC is English and my phone is English. But if you don't use it like every day, you're gonna lose the words that you don't use a lot. But you know, you get incomplete sentences, and you're constantly, you know, searching for the right words in a conversation. But I do my best to try to, you know, stay updated, so to speak.
So were you raised speaking English, or were you raised speaking Swedish?
Swedish. But everybody learns English in elementary school. It's like everybody does that. So if you come to Sweden, it's really easy for someone English speaking to get around because everybody speaks English in one way or another.
That is awesome.
I know when my mom and sister have been in Europe, they're like surprisingly, like everybody at least understands enough English to know what you're talking about. And a lot of people, especially the younger ones, can speak it like super fluently. And the older people might not know perfect English, but they know enough to, understand what you're saying and carry on a conversation. It's like I always had visions of people in Europe like just speaking like the native language, and maybe they speak like a few words of English. And it's like, no, it's not like that. It's like, what? Definitely not what I thought it would be, but it's kind of cool in a sense.
Joe's saying in here that he's enjoying his last 3 days at work. I forgot all about that. I saw your video on that. And I mean, congratulations, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I'm scared for him.
That's awesome.
I haven't seen that yet. Is he quitting his job and doing YouTube full time then?
Yep.
And I don't think he's doing YouTube full time, but I think he's going to start up his own business.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. It's a lot of work, but if you're really dedicated to do it, it can be rewarding.
Definitely.
That is seriously awesome. It's really cool in a sense when you can see somebody, taking on a challenge like that and actually trying to branch out on their own and be on their own and do something on their own. That is really cool, though it takes a ton of dedication and willpower and effort to do. So all the best to you, Joe. All the best to you.
Definitely the best of luck to you, my friend. I really wish you the best on that because, man, that's a huge step.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know from running my little 3D hub side thing and doing little side things for people, it can be daunting taking on work from other people and then trying to meet expectations and meet deadlines and stuff like that. It's just like, oh man, can I do that or not? It's not easy, but it's doable for those who have the capabilities of it.
We outlasted Daniel's PC battery.
Calvin,
like
just
1%.
Print model trains and become a billionaire.
There you go.
You're all set.
Awesome. I'm running.
That's okay. I won't charge you for that awesome tip, by the way.
Now he's gonna request like 5 bacon cheeseburgers and like 5 milkshakes and 5 like bacon sundaes or something like that.
We've got to get him out here to California. We've got to get him into In-N-Out. We've got to do it.
When Calvin is rich, that won't be a problem. You can just send a jet or something. You can come get me yourself.
Oh yeah, that works. Okay, long story short, I know somebody who's a flight instructor, and he used to work as an air taxi pilot. So I'd always tease him. I'd be like, so, when my company gets really big, I'm just going to find you at your job here, give you like a couple $1,000s and tell you to go quit your job on the spot. And then you can be my private pilot. You can fly me around. He goes, oh, that sounds like a great idea. and then the other person he's working with is like, I used to be an accountant over here. If you need an accountant. Okay. Yeah, you too. Perks of knowing people who have skills. Fun. But yeah, all jokes aside, it would actually be cool to pretend to be like a total baller and then just like jump in your little Cessna airplane, like fly around the bay for an hour and come back down and be like, I'm so tight, yo. I got to fly around the bay, but I'm not a pilot. So what exactly is going to make me rich? Is it going to be like the C-Dub rap album that's going to drop in a couple of months that's just going to like blow up or something like that?
I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen.
I saw Daniel put his sunglasses on a little bit ago. That was an awesome look, Daniel.
Tour then as well, or you're going to Japan, Europe, and doing arena shows.
Oh geez, yeah, that'll be great. The only request I have is I cannot walk out on stage with like girls on my arm, or I'm gonna like probably like freak out and not perform.
You're like, I made it. I'm out.
Hey, I was freaking out when I was figuring I was gonna have to walk walk a girl down the aisle at my friend's wedding, and then I'm like the day before the wedding, he goes, "Oh, you're walking too," and I'm like, "Oh shoot." my anxiety levels went from here to like off the chart. I'm like, no turning back now. Oh man, no.
Well, guys, I guess we
That would
better
be
start
funny.
wrapping this up. It's after midnight. Actually, it's my wife's birthday today,
Oh wow. Tell her I say happy birthday.
and get up tomorrow morning and take her out to Denny's so she can get her free breakfast.
Nice. That's how you know you've made it in life, when you get something for free.
Really?
Oh man. Well, Daniel, I cannot thank you enough for coming on today and joining. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It
Thanks
has
again
been a
for
blast.
You guys are awesome.
Oh hey, thanks for putting up with C-Dub's absolutely awkward dorkiness and Jimmy being
but
awesome
as we said,
always.
we're all awkward, right? So
That is true. We're all awkward in our own
it's
way.
right in.
Yeah, we are.
But that makes it awesome, is we're all like awkward, but we're not awkward around each other because we don't care.
Speak for yourself.
Oh,
All right.
man.
I got a meeting in like 10 minutes, so I got to go. But
Okay.
it's been a pleasure, guys.
Hey,
I hope-
Thank you very much, my friend, for joining. Have a great night, and we will see you next time.
Thanks again for coming on, Daniel. Keep
Maybe we
up
can do
being
this again.
awesome. Oh yeah.
Okay, C-Dub.
C-Dub's gonna like pass out here shortly.
I've been up since 6:30 this morning. I am so toasted. I'm ready for the day to be done.
I am like, it's like 12:20 at my parents' house, and the windows are open because we don't have AC, and I'm still sweating. It's like, it's not fun. So
How hot
I'm
was it down there today?
hot. Let me look it up really fast.
I know San Jose was 90 degrees today at the last count, and that was out there changing brakes on a concrete driveway, and man, did it get hot.
It was about, the peak today, according to Google, was about 81 degrees at about 50% humidity.
Eesh.
Yeah, and then my parents don't have any air conditioning, so you're pretty much just like sweating it out. It's just like, yeah. When I was filming some in my old workshop area, which is like, got no ventilation, got like a tin roof. I was literally getting dizzy filming in there for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, just got to smash the scene out, and I'm taking a break for the day.
Yeah.
It was bad. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Well, Calvin, thank you very much for joining.
Thanks again for having me on, Jimmy. And
It
thanks
wouldn't be
again
Calvin
to Daniel
or not Calvin.
Thanks again to Daniel for also putting up with our craziness.
Definitely. Daniel's one awesome person. I've always wanted to talk to him, and for the foreseeable future is probably the closest I get to doing it, but it's been a blast talking with him.
Oh yeah. And to everybody watching this, thanks again for tuning in. And we're not fully sure about his schedule yet, but we're going to try and do this as much as we can.
Yeah, we'll see how your Wi-Fi is and everything up in San Francisco when you get back. If you think you can stream from there, then we'll try to do it.
Worst case scenario, I can always stream from my phone probably, which has faster internet connection usually. Although to be honest, I've done like I've done a Facebook Messenger video chat before, and the quality was decent. So I think it's doable as long as the audio carries over. That's the big thing, I think.
Yeah, it should be just fine. How are you on data though? Do you have a really restrictive plan?
I have unlimited data, so I make Verizon cry every month. Most of the time, because my data is about twice as fast as my home internet, it's just like, screw using the Wi-Fi, you know.
Oh, have they ever offered you the extra box, the one for at home?
The Wi-Fi one? Or
yeah.
Like the router box? No, not yet. I was telling my dad earlier, it's like if I was traveling, I'd probably just get like one of those prepaid hotspot things with like a data cap and just use that for if I'm on the road or traveling or something, not to stream with because that would just gobble data, but for like running Fusion 360 or internet-based programs like that, or just general surfing and whatnot, and then just use my phone for like videos and whatnot.
Of course, then again, with your phone, you also have the hotspot where you can just.
I've tried doing that, but I don't know if it would work on this one. The last time I tried doing it with my old iPhone a couple years ago, it said that I needed like another plan to do that with, and I was just like, forget it, because I got the unlimited data thing like 5 or 6 years ago, and I've just kept on being grandfathered into it, which is great.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then now they got unlimited again, but now I think they throttle it after 25 megabyte, don't they?
Yeah, something like that. So it's kind of like, as long as I can keep on what I'm at, I'm happy. So I think for the reason of the plan being so old is the reason why I might not be able to do hotspot, but it's not really that big of a deal because my cell service does intermittently drop out in San Francisco just sitting at the house. And I think it's because there's so much cell traffic, the towers can't handle it. So I think they temporarily crash and then come back online. You'll just be sitting there and you'll see like 4G and all of a sudden it'll just like drop to no service. And then it'll kind of go to 1 and it'll stay there for a while. And then you'll like shut your signal on, you put in airplane mode, turn it back on. And then like a minute later, it bumps back up to 4G. And it's like, oh, who was trying to upload too many videos from the concert that night? It's all Jimmy's fault. Although I will say it is a documented, I've noticed it. If there is any big event going on in San Francisco, cell service literally slows to worse than my DSL connection. It'll literally get down to like 0.5 megabit download speeds on my phone when it's normally about 4 or 5.
When I was at Shoreline a few weeks ago, I had the greatest Wi-Fi I have ever had there, and it was perfect. And it's like, okay, I can actually do some periscoping on this thing. And then next thing I know, everybody gathered in, it just dropped down. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just switch over to the 4G and do it. And 4G was the same way. It just dropped out completely. And then toward the end of the concert, it started picking back up. Of course, I think Verizon got involved on whenever I mentioned something on Twitter about it. And Verizon came on there and said, well, where are you at? And I told them, and it was maybe about 30 minutes after that, I noticed the signals, got where it was a faster connection again.
Yeah, I think the problem is, and this is just something I've noticed because I used to work in Milpitas, which is just north of San Jose. It's like, even though we had paid for fast internet, we weren't getting fast internet. And part of the problem is there's just too much traffic and not enough servers to handle it. And it's becoming probably up to a crisis point in the Bay Area now. They need to put in more servers. They aren't, and they're expanding the internet stuff like high-speed internet, and it's like, it's not going to work.
No,
it's really frustrating. It's kind of like, screw trying to roll out high-speed internet if you can't even handle the traffic you have now. God forbid you get more people on it. It's just going to get worse.
Well, it's to the point where they're just going to have to rip out all the old lines and start over and put all new stuff in. Fiber. Because they're trying to put the fast internet over the older lines, and it's just not carrying it.
Yeah, I just can't handle it. I'm streaming right now on my parents' I think it's Verizon Fios or something like that. So they've got approximately, I think it's like, I've clocked it on my computer like 35 up and down. I think they were advertised to get more, but by the time it goes over Wi-Fi and stuff, it's going to be slower. But it's like, man, this is fast. I like it.
Yeah, I did a quick stream test because I reset the routers and everything to try to keep it from dropping out tonight. And whenever I did a speed test on it, I think I was 70 up, or 70 down and almost 7 up.
Wow.
So seems like it's done all right, except there were some complaints about dropping out, but I guess it's doing all right now.
I mean, I'm running speed test right now just for fun to see what we're pulling in while streaming. I mean, I'm pulling in about 45, 50 on a download, which is impressive considering that I'm currently streaming right now. I'm really curious to see what the upload is.
Yeah,
this is like over 10 times. I mean, I'm getting on upload like 36, 37, 38, 40, 42. Wow. I'm lucky to pull 3/4 of a megabit upload at home and like 3 megabits download.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Actually, it looks like we are down because I was just looking at it says error occurred. Please try again later. Playback error.
I got that on my phone earlier and then I just quit using it. So I don't know what's up.
Yeah, that's all right.
Whatever.
We had fun. That's the main thing.
Oh yeah. Who cares if the whole thing didn't get broadcast? It's just fun hanging out and talking as always.
I think what it is, because I'm not hosting it on my Wi-Fi or on my internet or anything. It's going through Google Hangouts. So it'd have to be on their end of it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
No offense, but maybe we need to find something that's a little more stable.
I think what we'll do is we'll probably switch over to and start doing Skype and use OBS.
Yeah. If you need help with OBS, I can try and hook you up. Too bad.
Yeah,
the only problem is we can't stream. Well, we could try streaming through my end, but it would be so laggy. It's not even worth it.
Yeah. Ryan said that we're still broadcasting.
Weird. It must have just been like a crash on the GUI on your end. Then I don't know.
I'm almost afraid to reset it.
Oh, what the heck?
Let me just go ahead and just hit refresh on that page. Just see if it comes back.
Because, yeah, it's showing we're live right now.
So it's probably just on my end of it.
Daniel commented.
Oh, yeah. So it was just on my end of it.
Weird. Huh. Daniel commented in the chat. I'm checking it right now. New word from Calvin. Thingiverser.
Thingiverser? I love that one.
I love that one. It's like what? People call themselves a YouTuber, an Instagrammer, a Skyper, a Snapchatter. Thingiverser. Why the heck not?
You know that video I sent you where I did my little upgrade? That video is going to be coming out Friday. Remember I did that, sent you that video?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still cleaning my desk off, and I've wiped it down 3 times.
Oh,
I keep looking around, I keep seeing something shiny. I am really surprised I was able to get this thing cleaned up. I honestly thought it was going to be toast. I mean, other than having some nicks and stuff in it, it actually held up.
What exactly is that? Just like a neoprene mat?
Yeah, it's Craftsman, of course.
Of course, because you get it from work, show off.
It's like you know those liners that they put inside the toolboxes?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like that non-skid drawer liner stuff you can get at like every 99-cent store.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, I was able to actually get all the metal flakes out of that, which I was shocked. I mean, once in a while you look at it and you see something shiny and kind of...
Welcome to machinist life. I swear when I'm done machining like anything aluminum, there's like glitter all over the floor around the mill. It's like, oh, time to get the broom. Try and sweep some of it up.
Yeah, that's the one thing with sandblasting, it gets really old, is getting up every morning and having to rake across your eye like that and try to pull it down. And because you don't go that way. If you do, it puts it right back in your eye. But you get this grit and sand out of your eye when you wake up in the morning. It's like it's just horrible.
You need like one of those emergency eye wash stations whenever you get done for the day.
Yeah, honestly, that would probably not be a bad idea. But I feel I've been doing this now for what, 25 years full time. I used to help my dad when I was younger and in school. But for 25 years, I've been doing this. And it's like, I'm getting too old for this.
That's why you need me to take over and do it for 5 minutes and go, okay, I'm terrified, I'm done.
You're like, that hurts. And like, I forgot about that. It does, doesn't it?
I will admit, though, looking back at the footage, I would have blasted longer. It's just because of like my really awkward trying to tame the snake hold. It was so uncomfortable because I was so nervous about holding it. I didn't realize it was going to be actually easier than I thought. So I was all like holding on to the thing for dear life, like totally tensing myself up. Looking back at it, had I been more like you, like fluid with it, I could have probably blasted everything and been fine, but I just didn't know what to expect. So I kind of freaked myself out and I'm like, okay, you know what? I got to call it quits before I like let go of the thing in a panic or something stupid like that. Because the last thing I wanted to do is have that thing like whipping around the lot like, oh yeah. knocking out the windows on the trailer, probably taking out you and me in the process. And yeah, I didn't want that.
My dad years ago, I forget if he dropped her or what, and that thing whipped all around. It was back when we used to do it in our backyard, and it whipped all around. And I'm talking, it's probably about 15 feet of the hose that will actually go up. And then after that, it's the weight of the hose kind of holds down the rest of it.
Mhm.
But that much flipping around, it moves fast.
And with that much air behind it, that thing would take out anything.
Yeah, it would.
I mean,
man, plus getting in front of it, that would hurt even worse.
yeah.
Well, now think about getting hit by about a 2-3 pound nozzle.
At least
that would hurt.
I mean, that hose is heavy. So for like 15 feet of that to be up in the air, I mean, that's some extreme force.
Oh, mind you, that's what they call whip. That's just, was it 1.5 inches outside, 3/4 inch inside?
Mhm.
And most of your sandblasting hose, you actually have a bigger hose at the back of it. So you're talking upwards of nearly 2 inches thick, 2 inches at the biggest point. And that gets really heavy.
Oh yeah. It's like a fire hose. It's not very heavy when it's dry, but when it's wet,
yeah.
Oh, forget it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just didn't want to like kill anybody that day. So I'm like, okay, I stop at this point. But looking back at it, it's like, okay, wasn't as bad as I thought. Now I know what to expect. So if I do it again, it's not so scary.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just didn't want anything to go wrong. So that's the only reason why I backed out as early as I did was, okay, feeling a little stressed out. I should probably call it quits before I do something stupid. And that's the only reason why.
Yeah. Well, do you have any videos that are coming out this week?
Videos coming out this week. Actually, let me look at my YouTube list because I've got the schedule on there. So I've been uploading so many videos I've forgotten. So let's see. Coming out Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific is the smaller GoPro handle video, which sadly doesn't have any of the footage that was shot with it because the camera got lost, which sucks, but that's what happens. And then on Saturday, I have How Not to Lose Cameras in the Ocean coming out, which is the sequel to that one, which never should have been filmed, but because I lost the camera in the ocean, which was on the little GoPro handle, which I won't reveal too much about that video, but it is sweet. And you can also already download, if you go on PinShape, the files are available on there for sale, but it was pretty fun. And then because I lost the camera, I mentioned doing a video, and a couple people mentioned it might not be a bad idea to do a video about probably why it happened and some tips for preventing it, because it was a super preventable incident. And looking back, I'm kicking myself because the $60 camera came with a little stainless steel lanyard that was designed so if you're concerned about your camera getting lost, you can hook that up. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, are you kidding me? Oh, jeez, really? It was like your little baggie that I didn't think twice of. And I'm just like, oh, am I an idiot? So I went into Fusion 360 and threw in a couple extra bowl holes on the design and uploaded that as part of the things you can download. I figured I'll give them 2 versions, but I just felt like such a moron that such a simple thing was included in the box and I didn't even know it at the time. And had I known, I would have totally hooked that thing up to the camera rig and probably would have had the footage to this day. But you know, I look at it this way. Me and the ocean have not gotten along. First time I went out there on this trip, I lost my mask and got beat up really badly by the waves, as you guys saw. Then the second time I didn't lose my mask, but I lost my camera. At least I didn't lose any body parts.
That ocean, whenever that wave hit you, was like...
I off camera, well, in the footage that you didn't see, I literally had Danielle like yelling cues to me like, get down, go up, swim, dive under, because I'm like a complete moron in the water. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, big wave's coming. Should I go under? And by the time I realized I should probably go under, it's way too late. And she's already like dove underneath the wave while it's still coming up. And it's like, I don't have your skill set. But it was actually one of the ways that I was diving under is when I lost the camera, which was like the ultimate bummer. I was like, oh, this is gonna look so cool diving through a wave, because I always loved those shots. I'm like filming under the water and stuff, and then it's lost, and I'm like, but I mean, I'll put it this way: as much as it sucks losing the camera, I'm more bummed that I lost the footage. I'm just glad it was not my $350 GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black that I lost, because that would be really painful.
Yes, it would have.
that's also something I'm going to be covering in the future in my cheap camera review, is why you would want a cheap camera, is for that very reason. If the thing gets lost, you're out a couple of bucks, and you're out the footage, and you're out the memory card, but you're not out a whopping load of money. You know,
could you imagine if you had a GoPro Hero 5 that got lost?
Oh, don't even go there.
Makes you think twice about buying one, doesn't it?
Honestly, after filming this incident in the ocean, I'm definitely like, okay, I'm going to have like 20 different safety lines rigging everything to each other so it can't go anywhere. But no, I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it's like you can only engineer in so many redundancies before it gets ridiculous, and you're just like, I should just not film in the ocean. And I'm definitely going to probably do more ocean filming, because I actually enjoy doing it when it goes right. It's just, I've definitely learned a lot about what not to do, but I'm glad I learned it the way that I did. So that way I hopefully won't make the same mistakes again.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Friday night, I reach over here. You'll find out how come I have this fan out here instead of inside my Meat Creator 2.
That is, unless you get like a last second email from them going, oh, holy crap, Jimmy,
Don't
put that
you
out
do
there.
it. Take that video down. Do it now.
And then Jimmy's like, crap, what do we do for a video? So I noticed a lot of dogs being printed. What's up with that?
Oh. So I did that video where I printed up that dog, right?
Right.
And of course my wife sees it and she's like, well, I want one. And then
the honeydew list begins.
Yeah, and next thing you know, my aunt sees it. I want one. Then my other aunt sees it. I want one. Then my mom, I want one. Everybody wanted one, so I'm printing them out 24 hours a day.
And in the words of Oigar, my old Norwegian machine shop teacher, who is absolutely awesome, the two worst things that you can have as a machinist, or in this case, anybody who produces things, are friends and relatives, because they will pester you nonstop for stuff because you got the capabilities to do it.
You remember this one from quite a while back?
I remember you gave me the carbon fiber one when we met up eons ago at the Ferry building.
My aunt from Tennessee says, I want one in wood.
Dude, you better be lucky that 3D for Makers, I think, is that the company that keeps sending you the filament? I always forget the name.
AMZ 3D.
Okay, AMZ 3D. Yeah, you better be lucky they're sending you free spools of stuff, man, or you'd be totally screwed.
Oh, I would. My goodness. I'll tell you what, their wood PLA is actually very nice. I was looking
really
at it compared to the Hatchbox, and the Hatchbox one's a little bit darker. But as far as printability goes, it printed great.
I actually kind of like the lighter color wood things. It's like I have some color fab cork fill, but it's almost so dark. It's like you can't really see anything.
Exactly.
I mean, it looks really cool and it probably has some interesting applications, but it's just sat unopened for so long. I'm just like, oh, I don't really like the color actually. And nobody's ordered it on 3D Hub, so it's just like, what the heck?
And let's not forget, I still got the giveaway going for this.
Good old hairy lion. If I make a hairy lion, I probably would actually do it in maybe like Protopasta's iron filament, and then rust the main, and then rust patches of the body to kind of give it like depth or something. But I don't know if I'll do that or not.
I still cannot believe that that's my #1 video. I cannot believe it.
I think in terms of overall views, my #1 video, Make It With Calvin related, is the polishing the Protopasta coin one. But that's because when I wrote a review on Protopasta's website, I put the link into the video for polishing the coin. Second on the list is the very first tiny house video with my sister that rolled over 3,000 views, I think, a little while ago. And I'm like, what the heck? That was like the video that I thought was going to get like the least amount of views, and it's like slowly gone up there, and I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, it's 8 months ago I shot it, and it's got 3,048 views.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then the GoPro ocean handle testing video that I thought was going to be like super popular,
Yeah.
it's at 115 views 7 months later.
Wow.
The one that
somebody just mentioned the Hatchbox Gold. Yeah, what I did, let me grab this over here. So this is Ron's Hatchbox PLA. This is their gold PLA, which doesn't
similar.
make sense because this, to me, looks more like gold than that.
Depends upon which grade of bronze you're talking about, though. If you're talking like silicon bronze, it looks a lot like gold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it, going back to the videos thing, I find it kind of sadly ironic that the video that I like literally risked my life in getting mild hypothermia in the ocean has like a ridiculously tiny amount of views, and the video that I shot literally in like 10 minutes with my sister has got like over 3,000 views, and I'm like, the heck?
I know. It's just like with me, it was my one video that took off was the Z-Wobble bracket video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that one, and that was like my #1 video for forever, it seemed like. And then I did the video where I replaced the blower motor in my Nissan Sentra. And what was different about it was the fact that everything, including the job manual from Nissan, said you had to take the dashboard out of the car. It was a 5-hour job. Take the dashboard out of the car in order to get to the blower motor. And so I saw this one post on one forum where the guy's like, why do you do that? You just do it this way. And so I did a video on the way that guy did it, and I made sure I put where I found that at and gave that guy the credit that way. That one slowly beat out that video. It's like, okay, so that became my #1 video. And then the hairy lion, and I don't know what happened. It's over 60,000 views now.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't even checked today. I've quit looking.
I mean, that is seriously insane. I know Joel's hairy lion video blew up, but that's only because he did his Joel style where he just went way big.
I give Joel complete credit for it because I think what it is, I think it was because they watched his video and it was a hairy lion. I think mine was an ad, like a suggested video.
Probably. I mean, because Joel's video just went boom. But then again, he has
blew up. It's over 1 million views, isn't it?
Probably, I would think. Yeah, I mean, but then again, in his case, it's like he has a lot more clout, and then the whole hairy lion thing. He definitely rode the hairy lion craze while it was there. Me, I tend to be more like, and this is like I've said before, no diss to the designers or anybody who prints that stuff. I find it totally cool. It's just not my style. I mean, I have enough knick-knack prints lying around that I need to get rid of. For me, it's like making one of those would just be a waste of time and material. So that's why I tend to stick to more practical prints, is just because of space limitations for storing stuff. You know,
yeah.
I have enough stuff as is. It's nothing against the prints, nothing against the designers. I think they're actually pretty cool. It's just, it's space and time. It's like, if I'm going to shoot a video, I might as well make it something that I feel personally is more original and more my style. But I wouldn't be against doing a video on that. It's just, I just haven't found anything that's like, I've got to do this and I'm going to do it, you know. So although in the future, I'm probably going to do it. I think it was Danielle had the great idea. She goes, you need to make a coin that says C-dub on it. I'm like, oh, yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
She's like, you need to make it say, like, make it with Calvin on one side and C-dub on the other. I'm like, no, I need separate coins so I can just like stack them and look extra ballin'. And she's like,
I got another suggestion for you too. take it and either drill a hole or do the next one where it has a hole in it and get one of those those clock things. So you actually have a clock.
I will seriously, even if the hands don't move, that would be hilarious to do.
On the teeth of your gear, put 12, 1.
Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Problem is I have 10 gear teeth. I could always make it 12.
There you go.
Oh, jeez, Jimmy.
The Calvin Witt clock. Where's the microphone I can drop?
I'm not late. I'm running on C-Dub time, yo. Yeah.
C-Dub time. C-Dub time.
That would actually be hilarious to do on the extras channel, like a weekly recap of everything going on called C-Dub time.
Do it. Do it.
Watch, the extras channel's gonna like blow up now, and I'm just gonna be like, screw make it with Calvin. I'm just gonna be C-Dub now.
we're just gonna rename the show C-Dub time.
Actually, you know what? It'd actually be interesting to put C-Dub time on the regular channel, like on Sunday nights at like 6 p.m., where I just do, even if it's like a minute or a minute and a half long recap of like projects that I've worked on throughout the week that made it to air, and maybe some bloopers or something. That would actually be pretty fun to do.
Yeah, it would.
I mean, even if, and maybe there's times where I just dig up old footage that's hilarious, like where I flub lines and things like that, or things that never made it to air that were goofy. I think that would actually be pretty funny to do, just to kind of show like what goes on.
Yeah, it would.
That'd be
By the way,
funny.
I looked it up. 63,000 views now.
Jeez Louise.
It's insane.
I was looking at my proto pasta video from like over a year ago, and it has, let me see. It has 4,416 views, and it was uploaded on September 19th, 2015.
Wow.
And then the killer is, I just checked, I don't have the video monetized. Oops. It's like when I started out, so many of those old videos, it was just like, it's not even worth trying to go back and trying to like monetize them at this point. It's like, unless it's something like that, which is like really big, but it's like, oh, well, that would help my Google AdSense a little bit. But even then, I think I've got like a couple bucks sitting in there, but when I get back, I got to like hook up a bank account to it. I thought I did that a long time ago, but I probably closed accounts and whatever. It's not anywhere near like the payout threshold, sadly, but it's kind of like, I should probably do that just in case.
Yeah. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
Just like this, I never dreamed in a million years that would be the video that would take off.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, the funny thing is the other tiny house videos that I have done have not been as popular as that one video, but I'm hoping that now that my sister's living in her tiny house now, and I do kind of like a just moved in opinions video, and then probably when I come down around Christmas time or New Year's, I'm hoping to do more like a long-term what is it like video, kind of to compare and contrast like her, like what she thought when she first moved in after being there for a while. I'm hoping those videos take off, but you never know. It's always luck of the draw. Although I will say the tiny house videos have been somewhat popular just because that is kind of the trending thing right now, and people tend to find it somewhat interesting.
Yeah. And how does she like living in that now?
She seems to like it. I mean, she's gone 90% of the time anyways, doing who knows what. But I mean, it's not like she's sitting there going, this thing's horrible. I mean, I get the idea that she enjoys living in it, but she's also in it only so shortly to just go to sleep. I mean, she still uses my parents' house half the time to take a shower and do things like that. And it's like, I thought you built a shower and a toilet and stuff in the tiny house for that reason. Whatever.
Well, I can understand if you're just needing a place just to kind of crash for the night. I kind of see it, but at the same time, I mean, if a person got sick or something and needed to spend time in it, that might get a little bit crowded.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. You could put two people in there, but it's like when we're trying to film in there and stuff, it gets tight. Yeah. Any more than 3 people, forget it. It's not big enough. But for one person, it works fine.
A smart car of homes. That's a good one.
That's honestly the way it is. I mean, literally, it's like it's almost like the space shuttle, like every possible nook and cranny that you can shove stuff into. There's stuff in there. She's still moving in, so things aren't perfect. So I didn't dare take photos of the thing inside, or she would have probably like chased me off like throw me out of the tiny house and being like, "We're not filming in there."
Swiss Army life.
Well, I mean, if you guys saw the videos, like when she's showing like the kitchen and stuff, she literally has like in the baseboard, she has like storage built in there, and then she has like the closets which now have stuff, and the storage in there is actually pretty good for what it is. So considering the tiny space, it's pretty decent, but it's still definitely somewhat cramped in there. You definitely can't have 30 pairs of shoes crammed in there.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's definitely one of those things where I think if she put some storage in her sleeping area, because it's so big, she could probably have more space. But I think it's one of those cases of as time goes on, you kind of just figure out what you need, what you don't, where to put stuff. So that's where I really want to shoot a video now that she's moved in like 2 weeks ago, to get kind of like initial impressions and then a more long-term impressions to kind of see how, you know, things compare. And also if she has like any do's or don'ts, like, yes, this was a good idea, no, this was a bad idea, and then later on have the yes, this is a good idea, yes, this was a bad idea sort of thing, to compare like what sort of things, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Well, Calvin, you know, we've almost been streaming for an additional half hour.
It's great. I was just looking at the time going, oh my gosh, it's almost 1 a.m. Jimmy's got to go to bed. Jimmy's got to be up in like
tomorrow.
5 hours or something.
Well, my friend, let's go ahead and call it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks again. And thanks again to Daniel for chilling with us. That was a blast.
Yes. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for Anton for doing a surprise appearance. That was awesome too.
Totally. And thanks again to everybody for tuning in for our random goofiness. I think eventually we're going to get kind of a schedule down, but I also kind of like just this back and forth banter thing, if you guys like that as well.
Yeah, it gives me a chance to visit with them. I mean, other than that, we're just doing the tweets back and forth and stuff like that.
And I think as time goes on, like I've said, we'll kind of figure out how to do things, but it's kind of cool just feeling our way through it and that whole thing, kind of finding our groove.
Yeah, I think if we can figure out how to do the OBS thing and kind of get something nicer set up than this flip flop.
Yeah, kind of do maybe like a split screen or something. The other nice thing is that we'd be able to also show, if we cared to, like what we had on our screen or things like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that way we could take in whenever we're talking to somebody, we can like stick them up in the top corner and we'd be down here and we like look up at them. Like they used to do all those commercials.
Oh gosh.
Okay, my friend, you have a good night. Thank you very much for talking.
No problem. See you later.
Thank you guys for joining the chat. Have a great night. Take care. His videos are coming out during the week. My videos will be coming out at the end of the week. You guys have a good one.
Peace out.